Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome back. Well, we are delighted to have back with us our good friend Todd Friel. He heads up Wretched TV and radio. You see the Wretched TV program here on the Dove TV network. And I have to ask the question first off before we go anywhere else with all these heavy topics we're going to discuss today. Earlier during our news, Todd, the subject Mountain Dew came up, and we were just asking the question, does Todd Friel drink Mountain Dew? Oh, don't have any audio on you yet.
Oh, I wasn't talking. I was.
Oh, okay.
Our theme is France today, so I was doing mine.
Okay, so a little bit.
Yeah, just, you know what's even worse? Diet Mountain Dew on occasion. Not always, just when I go to Zaxby's. You know those, have you been to those new soda machines at the fast food restaurants where you push the buttons and you can concoct anything that you want?
Yeah, right.
Okay, a little overload for somebody with ADHD. They've got like cherry Mountain Dew with vanilla hints. It's crazy, the options these days.
Okay, well, it explains a little. Good to see you, friend. Happy New Year. How you doing?
You know, if you've ever watched one of these types of interviews before and wondered, can the person, me, the interviewer, see the interviewee, see the interviewer? And the answer is no. I never get to see you, Perry, and it makes me nutty.
That's okay. Yeah, it's a good thing. You probably, but I got to say, thank you for your show. I watch it all the time. You do a great job. I tell you, I don't know, how much time you put into it, obviously a lot, but you do a great job on what you do. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you for the encouragement, Barnabas.
Well, let's get into a few things. Man, did France experience their 9/11?
You know, I don't think we experienced our 9/11. Can I take you back about 500-600 years in time?
Sure.
France was really the epicenter of a revolutionary worldview about 6 centuries ago. Before, let's call it the 1400s, the church in the West pretty much wrote the rules, and people pretty much submitted to them via the authority of the Holy Roman Empire, the predominance of that religion. But a couple of things happened. First of all, the Protestant Reformation happened, which was a group of godly men saying, I've got disagreements with the church in authority. Now, well-intentioned people watched that and went, so you can question the church, huh? That was not lost on some philosophers, the Machiavellis, the Voltaires, who then started to question even the existence of God. Some believed in a God who was absent or distant. He certainly was not in control of the affairs of men, or they rejected God completely. That was revolutionary. And so we started something called the Age of Reason, and a worldview that is completely godless called secular humanism. And it is Paris, France, that was the epicenter of that worldview. If you recall, right around the time of the Bastille and the French Revolution, when the Reign of Terror began, the secular humanists actually took out a statue of Jesus Christ in Notre Dame and replaced it with a statue of reason. Why? Because man was now the supreme being with all of the answers. We are right. We know everything. Forget God. And so we began, let's call it 1789, full-blown secular humanism, which to 1989 was growing, flourishing, but ultimately was thrown into a bit of confusion because secular humanism didn't appear to be working out because of the bloody World Wars I and II. And so secular humanism now has kind of morphed into this postmodern secular humanism, whereas, look, I've got the answers for me, you've got the answers for you, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We are all right. Now, that's the predominant worldview of a very secular France. There's probably no more aggressively secular nature than France. So along comes Charlie Hebdo and the Muslim terrorists who killed 12 people for putting up a satirical cartoon about Muhammad. And now this worldview called secular humanism has to do something that their worldview does not allow. They need to look at another religion and say, you're wrong. Your actions are evil, and we will stop you. If the French do that, they will then be turning their back on over 200 years of a secular humanist worldview and effectively stating, we've been, like Fonzie, So this is what I see happening, Perry. It's fascinating. This is not just Eastern Islam versus Christianity in the West. This is Islam versus secular humanism. And so that is what I see playing out on the Parisian stage. What will the postmodern secular humanist French do now? Wow. And I fear nothing.
You know, Todd, that is a fascinating take. I have never connected those dots. And yet it appears that the French are pushing back much harder than we are here in America, where we still have some remnants of a Christian base. But boy, they have drawn a line in the sand. Millions come out and protest. Other world leaders join them, everybody but us. I mean, you know the drill. This is a fascinating thing to watch. They seem to be pretty serious.
Yeah, they are serious. I agree with you. That's why this is fascinating to watch, because when they sent out the 10,000 troops, they were undermining their worldview. Now, they are acting like Christians. They're acting like God exists. That is informing, like they just know this is evil, this is wrong, this can't go on, we've got to stop this. So they are acting like they have a godly worldview while proclaiming still to be secular humanists. So they are very conflicted at this moment.
Well, one thing that's coming out of this is that we have been watching a modern-day Holocaust across the world take place. And isn't it interesting that the secular humanists would be the first to stand up publicly to push back?
Yeah, again, the secular humanist worldview is the most inconsistent worldview that there is. Yeah, the postmodern who says nobody's right, nobody's wrong, go ahead and take their wallet and see how they respond to you.
Yeah.
They will, in a second, act as if God exists and there's an objective moral standard. So it's a very easy worldview to undermine. The problem is they aren't connecting the dots. They aren't seeing the inconsistency of their godless worldview.
Do you think the French will stand up for the Jewish part of their culture, even though they seem to be closing the shops and leaving town?
Well, I'm trying to work from their worldview. No God. See, the French, look, they do one thing well. They're somewhat consistent in laying down the rule. You go ahead and believe whatever you want to. Just don't impose it on me. Just do your own thing. Your truth is your truth. Just leave everybody alone. That's why when they went after the Muslims, remember the women wanted to wear the full-blown hijab to have their driver's license picture taken, and the French said no. Now, they didn't do that because they're anti-Islam. They do that because they are pro-no God. We don't want any remnant of it out in society.
All right. Now, before I take a break, let me ask you this. No visible, strong leadership representation at the rally from the United States. I wrote our congressman immediately and asked for him to sponsor a censure of the president, the vice president, and the secretary of state for not showing up. Now, I guess our ambassador was there somewhere lost in the crowd, and our lame duck attorney general was there prior to a meeting. But nobody on the front line there with Merkel and Netanyahu, no, nobody there. I mean, it was the ultimate snub. Your take?
The book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs. Nail it. The book of Proverbs talk a lot about leadership. And it's Proverbs that says, where there is a lack of wisdom with the leaders, the righteous groan. Yeah. When you have leaders that are advised by evil people, that have a godless worldview, that are lacking wisdom, that don't understand righteousness, the people groan. And aren't we groaning right now?
Oh, boy.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Just, and they, what, you're kidding, pot being legal, what, gay marriage, the breakdown of the family, and everything is Ferguson, and everything is just completely flipped upside down. We're groaning. Why? Because we're seeing leadership that has no wisdom. You know, we used to nominate elder statesmen because wisdom is different than Harvard smarts. Wisdom is hard won, and it comes from the Bible and godly counsel. And if we have leaders that have none of that, we groan.
Oh, you're terrific. Let me take a quick break. We'll be back with Todd Friel. See, I didn't have any. I didn't have my Mountain Dew yet. Todd Friel, and he heads up Wretched TV. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with our good friend Todd Friel. Those watching the Dove TV just saw the promo for his program. It's 9 o'clock weekdays here on the Dove. We think so much of them, we give them prime time. I got to rethink that. No.
I haven't seen you since Christmas. Can I show you what might be the best Christmas parent that any dad got?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
What'd you get?
I had to show this to you. These were made for me. Can you read these?
A little bit, not much. Let's see.
Okay. It's about the cross.
Yeah.
And then this one was painted. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of this world will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. One of my daughters made that for me, and I didn't even request it. That's one of those vest button popping moments for a parent.
That's got to hang on your studio wall somewhere.
I know it. If I am so bad at doing anything homey. That means I need to use a hammer and nail.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen anytime soon.
By the way, your set's beautiful. I know this is unbiblical, but I covet your set.
Not many people talk about that commandment.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, by the way, Did you hear about the evangelical pastor who preached a Christmas Eve sermon who said the word commandments and 10 commandments, it's not actually in the Bible. They're just 10 promises.
Oh, boy. Okay. Hey, by the way, just side note, are you going to be at the NRB?
You know, I don't know.
Okay. Well, if you're there, I want to catch up with you.
That would be, you know what? That inspires me to go.
We got TV Station of the Year for 15 again, so.
Really?
And here you are, prime time, every day.
No, you know what? It's so, I got to, sorry, I don't want to get all man-lovey, but, I just love you guys. And it's so sweet when godly people just kind of receive a little encouragement. I just cheer that.
Thank you. Hey, listen, I want to come back to this. Is there something for us to learn in America about standing up for our faith and pushing back by what's happened in France? Now, it's an interesting parallel. So you have the extreme Islamist terrorist group blowing up a newspaper and the culture pushing back. We've had the Bible mocked in major press across the country. Newsweek and other magazines have mocked the Bible, but there's no Christian response. What's your take?
Yeah, there should be a Christian response, but the question is, how do we respond? Now, we saw that we Christians, you didn't read about any Lutherans gunning down the people at Newsweek for that December 23rd, just atrocity. If that were submitted in a journalism class, it would have received an F. It was that poor. They could have Googled and found out more information. We Christians, we do not enter. This is our realm. This is the Christian. This is the church. God said, this is the institution. Here are your lines. You will go no further. Here's the government. Different lines. Their job is to punish bad guys. Over here is the family. That's another institution. We don't want to take on the role of the government and start acting like vigilantes and going out in the streets and killing abortion doctors. That's not what we do. The government's job is to have military, to have police, not the Christian. So right away, we check that one off. We're not going to act like the Muslims do because the Bible says that's forbidden. What do we say? Do we turn the other cheek? Well, I think Jesus was saying, when you're insulted, Perry, you're a stupid jerk. You turn the other cheek, you let it go. If I attack you in your home, you can defend yourself. The police, the government, they can defend themselves, and they can actually execute justice, even on the fly if they need to, in the God-ordained effort to protect bad people from hurting good people. So we need to figure out what do we say when somebody mocks us. This issue with what's going on in Paris allows us to raise the question, how do we respond when somebody insults us? Because, Perry, the Newsweek article was almost nothing compared to some of the other stuff.
Well,
do you remember the piece of art where somebody took a jar and
right.
they filled it with, I'm sorry, human urine,
yeah,
and then put a crucifix in it?
yeah,
Remember that?
right.
Okay, that's satire. How does the Christian respond? Okay, we don't kill somebody for that. First of all, that's sinful satire, and we should never respond like that. I think the rules for satire are, if it has a point. We see Elijah and the prophets of Baal.
Yeah.
He used satire. He used sarcasm. Jesus used it. Paul used it. We can use it. But not just to go, Islam is a big stupid religion, you dum-dums. That's sinning. We can use satire rightly aimed to express and to expose the absurdity of a worldview that's contrary to Christianity. But we must use it carefully. Doing the urine crucifix, that's just riling somebody up, and we're not going to respond like that. That's mocking and taunting for no end. Perry, I think that we can all be involved. You sent off a letter to your congressman. You can be engaged in those things. But I think that Jesus would say to people who mock Christianity, repent, believe the gospel. We're the gospel people. We're the Christian people. And if we want to see culture change, we can't just insist on conformity to rules. That's what the Muslims want. We're the heart people. And so if we want hearts changed, which will ultimately lead to behavioral change, we got to be preaching to their ears and into their brains the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Very well said. I just had a group of pastors in who's creating a roundtable to ask the question, how does the church engage the culture? I think we have our congregations. We expect people to walk through our doors, hear the gospel, get saved.
Yeah.
In the Pacific Northwest, we are still the largest unchurched or /churchless location or geographic location in the United States, so the fields are right on the harvest. And they're very skeptical of the church. They don't like organized religion, all this other stuff. But at the end, that's the harvest field. That's the group we got to go after.
Yeah.
That's the group we got to reach, even at the point of them mocking us and trying to do so. So it's an interesting dilemma.
We're a different bag than the Muslims in every other worldview. Look, Perry, this is hard. Nobody should be deceived about this. There is an agenda. There's a gay agenda, all right? And we see that, and it's bad for culture. We get that. It's going to be a problem for our religious liberty. We get all of that. But these people, they're not the enemy. They are a slave to the enemy. And while we rightly proclaim that's sin, that's wrong, repent, don't do that, don't pass that legislation, if that's all they hear from us, if that's all they're going to get mad at us. I think they are. Mm-hmm. We're going to put up a stumbling block that shouldn't be. The stumbling block should be Jesus Christ is your only hope. That's why they should hate us. So I'm not suggesting this is easy at all, because we do point out unrighteousness, but if that's all we're doing, and we are not doing that as loudly as proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ, I think our message is out of balance, and we're going to have a world hating us for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's well said, because I've often said your activism should be a form of evangelism. If your evangelism eclipses if your activism eclipses your evangelism, you're in it for the wrong reason.
I'm jotting that down.
You don't have to give me credit for it. No, but your activism should be a form of evangelism, but the moment your activism eclipses your evangelism, then you're in it for the wrong reason.
This might be an example. This is from Denver, Colorado. This is the cake maker story.
Oh, yeah.
Who refused to bake cake for gay wedding. A Colorado civil official called the baker a Nazi. Okay. Now, is it because that they are hearing the gospel from Christians, or they're just hearing, we're opposed to you, we think you're bad, that they would even think to call us Nazis? If they're calling us Nazis, look, I'm not saying that anybody's been saying anything wrong as evangelicals. I just think, I agree with you, our gospel message needs to be even louder. Wow.
All right, so We seem to be in a real tug-of-war now, Todd, as we head towards 2016. I don't want to make all this political, but just looking at the big picture, because where is the Christian church in all of this and where they're going to go with it? But we seem to have a lawless, runaway, rogue president. Even though Congress turned over, all states went red, by the way, except for Oregon. It went more blue. But we don't seem to be stopping him. And he seems to be pro anything but the United States. What's the Christian to do with this?
Yeah, we didn't imagine it would look like this, did we?
No.
I mean, 6 years ago we went, oh, this is bad, and we thought, oh boy, socialism and the Bill Ayers business and that church that he attended, which was just horrid, and we just never realized what the actual fruit of his worldview would be. Well, we're seeing it, and it's quite rotten.
By the way, I only got about a minute left, so go for it.
Yeah,
okay.
The hope that we have, we need to be a people down on our knees, and we need to be an evangelizing people. The more people who have their heart and minds changed and transformed by the gospel will see that, respond to that, vote differently, act differently, and we'll see a different culture. We can do something. It's your next door neighbor. Share the gospel.
Thanks, brother. We love you and love your program.
Congratulations.
And stay in touch. If you're there, I'll buy you a cup of coffee or something. I might even buy you a hot dog, a real expensive hot dog. I'll buy you an expensive hot dog because everything there is already expensive.
It's a hotel convention.
All right, good to see you. Thanks, pal. All right, Todd Friel. And again, Wretched TV, weeknights on the Dove TV network at 9 o'clock. Don't miss it, and tell your friends to watch it as well. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.